Hi, I'm Caroline from Ellison Counselling in Fleet, Hampshire, and I would want to talk a little bit today about looking after the other. It's about the way that we communicate with each other and how you can show empathy to somebody else in a different way, perhaps, than you are unintentionally not showing empathy at the moment. We all have our own social cues and our own social ways, but one thing that I am acutely aware of, and in actual fact, it's one of the reasons that I've developed a coping mechanism in the past, which was avoidance and social avoidance. But when, for example, you're in a social situation and friend A comes up and says, "Oh, such and such has happened, and I'm feeling really bad because this was my experience." And then friend B goes, "Oh, yeah, that's happened to me. When it happened to me, this is what happened." That's just a way, perhaps, that people might communicate with one another, and there is no malice intended, it's just a social conversation. But in that social conversation, essentially what happens is friend B, likely without knowing, completely invalidates friend A's feelings. So friend A comes with their feelings about a situation, and friend B hears that and then compares it to their experience. That's, in a sense, invalidating friend A's feelings, because without acknowledging friend A and saying, "Oh gosh, that sounds like it's really hard. I'm sorry that happened to you. Are you okay?" That statement essentially would validate that you've heard friend A's story and you're empathizing with their feelings. They might respond and you might have a discussion about your friend's feelings. Then friend B can go on and say, "I had my own experience," and talk about that, because their experience is just as valid as friend B experience. But without that in between of acknowledging and empathizing or sympathizing with the friend A's feelings, essentially without knowing, you're invalidating their feelings. Now, if this happens to friend A a lot, essentially and eventually what's likely to happen is friend A will withdraw from that friendship, because that friendship, their experience of that friendship is that person, friend B, invalidates my feelings. So friend A's coping mechanism, survival mechanism will kick in, and there'll be an unconscious process at thought, or even conscious, that person doesn't care about me. So therefore I'm going to withdraw because my experience with them isn't okay. Often this happens without us even being aware. So my recommendation is, be mindful of your other, be mindful of your friends. If a friend comes to you and they're talking about something that's difficult for them, then acknowledge that. Show some compassion, some empathy or sympathy, whatever you feel is appropriate, but acknowledge what they have shared with you, and let them know that you hear that and that you check in and say, "Hey, are you okay?" And then you can bring in your own comparison if that's what you want to do. But just take a pause and just reflect. How do I respond to my friends? How do my friends respond to me? And just notice, is it okay, or is there a bit of room for change? And that change will be, in my opinion, a change for good. I always say to people, be kind to each other. And I would ask you also to show compassion to each other, but as much compassion to others as you must give to yourself. I hope that makes sense, and I thank you for listening. Take care.